What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new Pokemon Go news alert. Today we're going to be talking about a tweet that Niantic Labs actually made yesterday. It has a bit of information in it and we can speculate farther based off that information, so let's get right into it. So Niantic Labs just recently tweeted that they're going to be sharing more information about additional field test areas once they're ready, in response to another Twitter user that asked about the possibility of signing up for a US field test. So this is definitely interesting information and we can speculate a couple things based on it. So this could be one of a couple things. The first thing that could definitely be is that they are actually being serious, that there are going to be more field test areas, that they're just yet to announce them, and that more places are going to get the beta in the near future. So this could also be a cautionary tweet. This could be something that they're doing just in case they do have to have more beta test areas. Obviously there are things that are changing constantly within the game, and there are different problems that are coming up with every new update and every new feature they add. So this is definitely something that could also be cautionary. So if they decide to add in more beta test areas, that they're covered with this tweet. So obviously I don't know how cryptic Niantic's going to be about their actual intentions when they're tweeting things about the game, but in the past they've been very straightforward about stuff, so I would assume that this is probably going to be the former, that this is most likely just an announcement to at least the one person and most likely the rest of the community that there are going to be more field tests in the future and they're going to be announcing them whenever they're ready. So now, based on this information, we can speculate on where exactly the field tests are going to be taking place, and I do have a couple ideas on that. So if you actually take a second and look at the places that Niantic has decided to release the beta in order, it sort of makes sense and there's sort of a reason for each one. For instance, if you look to Japan, there's a reason why they'd want to release a Pokemon game first in Japan. Japan was the original home of Pokemon. It came out first there, it got big there, it was then thrown all across the world, and then everyone else got into it too. But it started out in Japan, and it would make sense that they'd want to bring the beta to Japan first. But there's also a few other reasons. So if you consider that Pokemon Go overall is a very social app and it relies on player-to-player interaction, it would make sense that a very densely packed area, which is Japan, would be the first place they decide to take their field beta testing to. So given that, I do think that they take a lot of things into account when they're deciding which place to bring the beta to next. Now, you're probably thinking, well, if Japan was densely packed and that meant that they could easily test the beta, then why would they bring it over to New Zealand, or why would they bring it to Australia? Because the population density there isn't very high except for really specific places. So if you actually go back and look at some of the early interviews John Hank and Niantic did with websites and other people, you'll notice that they reiterate time and time again that they definitely want everyone to be able to enjoy the app, whether they're out in a very unpopulated area or they're in a big city. So the next logical step after going in a very densely populated area would be to go straight over to a non-populated area and see how people enjoy it, and if all the features work as they're intended, and if people are going to be able to catch Pokemon as they're supposed to, if all the waypoints are working and all the different Pokestops are working, gyms are working, Pokemon are spawning right. It would make sense that after being in a very densely populated area in testing, that they'd move on to an area that's less densely populated to test some of the other features of the app. So given this, we have to think about what they could possibly be doing next, what they could be looking for next, and I think I've come up with the answer. So I think the next logical step is that they're going to be testing server strength or just general features in a very, very large scale. Also, given that trading isn't out yet, you have to take that into account, so it would definitely be an area that is conducive to a lot of interaction, that a lot of people are in, and that they can test the server strength with, and there are only two areas I can really think of where that comes into play. So with all of that said, I do think that Europe or the USA are the most likely places to be chosen for the next field test, given that the stress test would be very easy to perform there considering the amount of people that are going to be playing in both regions, and that overall I do think there's going to be a lot of interaction between players in both places, so if they decide to drop in the trading function, then they'll have a lot of people testing it right off the bat. So in the past, Niantic has shown that they like releasing new information on the first Thursday of the month, so I do think all this is going to come out on the 5th of May. But guys, that is going to be about it for this one. If you have any theories yourself on the next region they're going to be bringing the beta test to, or just if they're going to be bringing the beta test to any other regions, please let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, I hope to see you back here for the next Pokemon Go news alert. Peace.